Well, it's not often we get television royalty to join us here on the couch, but Deborah Norville, so great to see you.
Thanks,
Congratulations, 25 years.
Yeah.
Where does time go, right?
I know, it's like that. When I started on Inside Edition, the O.J. Simpson trial was in progress. And I think the very first story I had was something about one of the witnesses who was, talking after they, revealed what they knew or whatever. So that's a long time ago.
A long time ago, but then when you say that, when you use that as an example, I can, boom, bring myself right back to those days. So I know in the news business, we've got kind of like this front row seat to history, but when you put it on paper, it seems like a long time. But has time flown, essentially?
Absolutely. I mean, 25 years seems like 25 seconds. When you think about, all the different stories, though, we've covered during that period of time, you realize, wow, a lot has happened.
I'm sure you get this question all the time from people on the streets. What's your favorite story? I mean, can you even answer that?
Because no, that's like asking if you've got 7 kids, which one do you like the best?
Alone,
yeah. But I'll tell you the moments that stand out. I mean, I think, as a New Yorker, one of them was 9/11. And I was actually in Washington, D.C. that day and had just filled in for Lance Armstrong on a speech. And then the tower got hit. I thought, oh, great, I'll get up to New York. I got stuck in Washington. Then the Pentagon got hit. So that stands out as a mile marker, I would say, in 25 years. And probably the story that stands out the most is when Inside Edition sentenced me to a week behind bars in the toughest jail in America.
And your thoughts when the producers came to you and said, look, we've got a great idea.
And I literally said no. And shows you how good I am at resisting things. But yeah, it was not a story I chose.
What was it like, though? I mean,
it was awful. It was every bit as horrible as you can imagine. These were real criminals. There was no special protection. There was no special treatment for me. In fact, they followed the rules more strictly, and so the inmates resented me for that because my roommate happened to be claustrophobic, which is not a good thing to be if you're going to be a jail prisoner. And so when they roll those bars across at night, she starts freaking out, and I'm locked inside with this woman who's freaking out. So it was interesting.
You have one of those moments you say, they're not paying me enough to do this.
That was one of them. That was definitely one of them.
A number of times. So how do you celebrate 25 years on the same show? When you hit that mile marker, what do you do?
Well, they're doing a little champagne toast for us tomorrow. They're going to be a little special segment on the show tonight at 7 on Channel 2. And I think you just look ahead to what are the next cool things we can do that will engage the audience, maybe lift them up a little bit either spiritually or in terms of the knowledge. I mean, look, it's a scary time right now. We're all dealing with coronavirus. One of the things we try to do on the show is put good, solid information out there. 100 and under 200 new cases in China today. That's information you need to know because that means it's tapering off in China. That's hopeful for the rest of the world. Yeah,
you have had such success on this show from a rating standpoint. I know that's where kind of how we're all judged is on ratings. You've been top 5 in syndication for God knows how long, for decades. It seems. So is there ever a time where you say, okay, we need to kind of pivot a little bit or reinvent ourselves? Or is it the shows like Inside Edition, Entertainment Tonight, Jeopardy, Wheel can just kind of, hey, look, this is what you're going to get day in and day out. Let's not mess with the formula.
I wish we were as successful as, Wheel and Jeopardy, right? Nothing has changed in those shows in forever. Inside Edition, though, our producer, Charles Lockman, is super clever because he has tweaked the show imperceptibly to the audience, but hugely in terms of being able to still be on the air after all these years. And so, we'll continue to evolve. I think probably the biggest thing that's different from the show today is when I joined it 2.5 decades ago is the pace. We would have had maybe 7 stories in a show. Now I think we have like 12 or 15.
That's your first block.
That's our first block, No, we do a lot more material because we know our audience is interested in so many more things. And frankly, they get bored quick. So we're going to tell you the important stuff you need to know, and then we're going to move on to the next thing.
And for you personally, when you see how television, the business itself, how the landscape has just kind of evolved and changed, do you ever sit back and say, wow, is there going to come a time where, I don't know, television, we get this all the time. No one's watching television anymore, but
Yeah, and for years they've been saying there's nothing on TV, and yet we have 500 channels, and somehow people manage to watch them all. Look, everything in the world will change and evolve. I think there will always be linear television. There will always, I hope, be Inside Edition on linear television. But the great thing is, if you are on your phone or on your computer, Inside Edition lives there in some form as well. So we want to be wherever the people who love us are, and y'all are everywhere, so we try to be everywhere.
You talked before about being a prisoner at one point. You've had a number of stunts that you've had to kind of partake in, different
that was a total
jobs
stunt.
and things like that over the decades. Has there, other than that one, any other ones that stand out to you?
Oh, I'll tell you one that was just plain out fun, but terrifying at the same time. And I actually learned a lot from it. So Inside Edition had me be a rock star.
Okay.
And that's fine. Okay, fine.
Heck of a lot better than a prisoner.
Yeah, it was better than a prisoner. I had like fancy hair and makeup. And but they said, we're too cheap to pay for the rights for someone else's song, so you have to write the song. That was the hardest part of it. They gave me the music. Junior Vasquez, wonderful producer here in town, composed the music. I listened to it. I wrote down all these words that the music said to me. He said, great, go write a song that says that. So I had to write the song. It was the hardest thing I ever did, and that was great. So what I took from that was, make yourself take on a challenge that you don't think you can do, because you learn so much about yourself when you do that.
Come with a music video and everything?
Yeah. I'm going to keep on moving, going to keep on pushing. Nobody's going to stop me now. It's a great song.
Wow, it's good. You should put that on your business card.
There you go.
Congratulations
Thank you,
again.
Chris.
Thank you so much for coming here today. Here's to another 25 years.
I appreciate that. Thank
Great
you.
To see you.